Wow, this future thing is awesome. You have really funny memes. This social networking thing is also awesome. Let's see if I can find new friends at findnewfriends.com. Must set up an account. Username, Joseph Stalin. Password. Sneaky. Enter bio-information. Well, I believe communism is very good. It's opposite from the American belief in democracy. How foolish of them. Who would want private property? Everyone should be equal, except of course for the leader. I was a leader for a large part of the Cold War, and like Marx's advice, I tried to spread communism through the world and fight the foolish American capitalistic beliefs. Write a response for the following questions. What is my opinion on terrorism? That's easy. As long as it's towards the American capitalists, terrorism is good. And as long as it's not on the Soviets, then that's also good. Second question. How would I combat terrorism? Well, I would establish an Iron Curtain again, which would set up a divide between Russia and the rest of the world, preventing terrorist actions. I would also implement brinkmanship to build up my weapon supply to deter terrorists from attacking. Last question. What is my opinion on the Patriot Act? I've always thought that civil liberties were more of a Western thing, and that government power should always be valued over rights of people. The Patriot Act would give government ability to do so. And for once in my life, I agree with the Americans, except I would name it something better than a foolish name like the Patriot Act. Communist Loyalty Act sounds much better. Awesome! My account has been created. Let's view suggested friends. Nikita Khrushchev. He seems cool. We both support communism, and we're leaders of the Soviet Union. Although that didn't really work out well for the last guy, Lenin. Let's see the next suggested friend. Winston Churchill. I see the poke button, but is there a stab button? I hate that guy. He relentlessly advocated for free elections in Poland. I hated him for this, because I want Poland to be communist, to create a buffer between Russia and Germany to prevent another attack. The last suggested friend, Chairman Mao. He seems interesting. I wonder what he's like.
Servant, bring me my breakfast. Fortune cookie! Go to findfriends.com. Laptop! Findfriends.com. Username Mao Zedong. Password Bulbasaur. Enter bio information. My name is Mao Zedong, and I became the communist leader of the People's Republic of China after the Long March and overthrowing Chiang Kai-shek. I have industrialized China through the Great Leap Forward with only minor setbacks, and I have corrected flaws in the Chinese society with the 100 Flowers campaign and the Cultural Revolution. Answer the following questions. What is your opinion on terrorism? Well, terrorism is bad on Chinese soil. How would you combat terrorism? Oh, that's an easy one. I would fight terrorism as a nation. I would summon a peasantry force similar to the Red Army. They could easily win. I mean, history does repeat itself.
But sir, if you assemble a workforce, won't we have a great famine like we did?
You do not speak out against the state! That is illegal! Have them arrested! What do you think of the Patriot Act? The Patriot Act makes it a lot easier to find people like that servant who speak out against the government and don't support Maoism. However, I already control everything the public sees and talks about, so it might be a waste of time and money. Ooh, suggested friends. Chiang Kai-shek? Ha ha ha! No way! I overthrew him from power years ago. I think he's in Taiwan now, and his democratic ideals are silly. He will always be an enemy of the state. Another suggested friend. Joseph Stalin. Oh, he looks cool. We have lots in common. Let's send him a friend request. More suggested friends. Harry Truman. I wonder what his profile is like.
Good day to be in America. Let's see. Oh, what's this? Meetfriends.com? I get pretty lonely in the White House. I could use some friends. Alright, make an account. Harry Truman, password, America, of course. Let's see, bio information. Well, I was President of the United States after Roosevelt and helped with the reconstruction of Europe after World War II. In the Yalta Conference, the main decision that was made was to break up Germany into 4 parts between the US, France, Russia, and Britain. And I helped a lot with that and have always been a big fan of democracy and diplomatic solutions. When tensions rose in Berlin, I funded the Berlin airlift and prevented a war. Okay, answer the following questions. What is your opinion on terrorism? Well, terrorism is awful, especially since America seems to be the primary target. I don't know why so many terrorist groups hate us. America is obviously the best country. Alright, second question. How would I combat terrorism? Well, let's see. I would fund the neighboring countries to terrorist groups in an attempt to eradicate them, just like George Marshall did with his Marshall Plan. I would also pass another Truman Doctrine and use the containment policy to prevent terrorism from spreading to other countries. I fear that if one country falls to terrorism, there may be a domino effect of countries falling to terrorism. Alright, last question. What is your opinion on the Patriot Act? Well, the Patriot Act is a very good idea, and I think it could be a very effective strategy at fighting terrorism. But I think a certain amount of basic rights of privacy need to be maintained. I fear that it could be easily taken too far, just as Senator McCarthy did with communism. Looking too closely into anyone's lives can bring up imperfections. Oh, wow, what do you know? Speaking of which, looks like Senator McCarthy sent me a friend request. Let's read his bio. Let's see, he would combat terrorism by racial profiling. God, this is awful. He would use his group, HUAC, or the House on Un-American Activities, to question potential terrorists, just based on their looks. And furthermore, he would use the Patriot Act heavily to scrutinize everyone. This is exactly what I feared. This man has never changed. Oh, look. General Douglas MacArthur. We had our ups and downs. I wonder what his profile is like.
Ooh, that gets me going. Oh man, the future's pretty sweet. They've got Legends Football League, bigger bombs, and even social networking. Let's try it out. Meetfriends.com. Make an account. Username, Douglas MacArthur. Password, McBoom. Enter bio information. Fought in World War I, decorated with honors, served as a general in World War II, fighting in the Pacific sector, supported the dropping of nuclear bombs on Japan after the Potsdam Declaration in the Potsdam Conference. We had to drop it before we let Russia enter the war against Japan and help us, so we got all the credit. Appointed Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers and assigned to supervise the reconstruction of the Japanese government. After the U.S. formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and Russia formed the Warsaw Pact, I was appointed Commander of the United Nations Forces during the Korean War, then was removed as Commander when bigoted Truman and I had differences in opinion. Respond to the following questions. What is your opinion on terrorism? That's easy. Terrorism is horrible because it kills innocent Americans. It makes America look weak too, and needs to be stopped by whatever means necessary. Second question. How would you combat terrorism? Well, the most efficient and effective way to combat terrorism would be to nuke countries harboring terrorists. We should bomb them like we should have bombed Korea during the Korean War. However, I know that we don't use nukes today for some reason, so the next best thing to do would be to use drone planes to individually assassinate terrorist leaders, which we're already doing. Last question. What do you think of the Patriot Act? All I know is that if my old supporter, Senator Joseph McCarthy, would have loved to have access to all those phone records and emails, it would have made his job of finding communists so much easier. Some soft people worry that the act infringes on too many civil liberties, but if you're a communist or a terrorist, then you don't deserve civil liberties. And if you're neither of those, you got nothing to worry about. Profile complete. Suggested friends. Dwight Eisenhower. He did refuse my advice to drop nukes on Korea, but he passed the Eisenhower Doctrine, which allowed the U.S. to give economic and military support to countries fighting communism, which would be an effective strategy today against terrorism. Plus, we served together in World War II. Well, that was fun. Made some new friends. I wonder how I can pass the time now.
I got it. God dang it!